Let me now introduce the National Polio Plus Committee chairs, our panelists for today's discussion. These Rotarians are working closely together to end polio. Please welcome our first panelist and representing Nigeria, Abdulrahman Tunji Funjo. Be seated. Our next panelist is from Pakistan, Aziz Memon. Welcome, Aziz. Thank you. And all the way from Afghanistan, Mohammed Ishaq Nizaman. Welcome, Ishaq. Thank you. The eradication of polio is the top priority of our 35,000 clubs and over 1.2 million Rotarians. Rotary is working with our partners, such as the WHO, to achieve this goal through fundraising, advocacy, and active participation in impacted areas. As a district governor, you will lead your district in a year that we all hope will see no cases of polio. On the front lines of the polio eradication efforts are Rotarians in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Nigeria, and in countries in Africa where polio is not endemic, but in countries that are not yet certified polio-free. Today, we have some real heroes of mine. The Rotary National Polio Committee chairs from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria with us. They're going to be updating us on the recent progress and provide an outlook for the months and years ahead. So it's wonderful to have you three gentlemen. My first question is for you, Dr. Tunji. You know, we keep hearing that Nigeria is polio-free. Is it truly polio-free?
Thank you, Chair Mike. The answer to that question is yes and no. Yes,
you're a doctor, not a lawyer.
That's right. Yes, because Nigeria has had no polio case now for 18 months. No, because technically, Nigeria cannot be certified polio-free until we are polio-free for 3 years, starting from when we saw the last case of polio on the 24th of July, 2014. So we still have about 18 months to go before WHO can certify Nigeria polio-free. That will, by extension, also make Africa a polio-free continent, following in the footsteps of India that made the Southeast Asia region polio-free almost 5 years ago now. There are still challenges, which includes a funding gap of about $1.5 billion US. And as you know, based on the challenges, this will continue to change. But we always expect that the amount will increase. So we need to continue raising funds from governments, from corporate organizations, and even from Rotarians and individuals, so that we ensure that what we are famous for as Rotarians, which is raising funds, continues to be the case. Our governors-elect are aware of the Gates 2-to-1 march. That's a great motivator for us, because in doing that, we'll ensure that we'll reach the end of this, our efforts to eradicate polio in record time without being encumbered by lack of funds. We have another major challenge, which is inaccessibility of vaccines to children, particularly in the security compromised areas in the northeastern part of the country, Nigeria, but also in other conflict-ridden areas of Africa. Rotaries and our partners will continue to innovate strategies to ensure that we have access to these children through arranging ceasefires, and as in the case of Nigeria, what we call hit and run, which is a strategy to ensure that we have standing teams who will go into security compromised areas when the security forces tell us it is safe for a couple of days, a large number of vaccinators go into those areas, vaccinate these children very quickly, and come out. Finally, and this is very important for us as Rotarians, is the challenge of complacency. There's always the temptation to believe that we've been 18 months without polio and polio is gone and start directing our energies elsewhere. We need to continue to put pressure on our governments and also importantly on Rotarians to continue the good work we have been doing to ensure that we accomplish the task. So Nigeria, and by extension Africa, is now polio-free, country or continent. We need to continue what we have been doing to get us this far and also redouble our efforts.
Thank you, Tunji. I think everyone's just thrilled to see the progress in Africa and Nigeria. We still have challenges ahead, complacency and other challenges. Aziz, good to see you. There were 53 cases in Pakistan in 2015, compared to 306 in 2014. How did Pakistan reduce? Everyone wants to know, how did you reduce the number of cases? And is polio going to end soon in Pakistan?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. In Pakistan, the program has been turned around in 2015 and is moving in the right direction to achieve the eradication target set by the Independent Monitoring Board. Increased government ownership, Prime Minister Task Force meetings, the Chief Minister Task Force meeting, and down to grassroots level, everyone is energized. 5 emergency operation centers, EOCs, have been set up, 4 at provincial level, 1 at the federal level, and they are very active during and after each campaign to identify, close gaps, and resolve operational issues instantly. This critical infrastructure is reinforced by the Prime Minister's focus group to ensure gaps on ground are closed instantly. A special Karachi task force headed by Commissioner Karachi has also been formed to address security and administrative issues in super high-risk areas of Karachi. All polio partners, UNICEF, WHO, Melinda Gates Foundation, and Rotary are stakeholders in EOC and are on board with the current situation on ground. A paradigm shift is the key to the program. Quality rather than quantity of campaigns. Second is the focus on the persistently missed children. The aim is no longer 100% of vaccinated children, but rather 0 missed children. The number of the missed children have steadily reduced from 24% to 1.07%. Third is putting frontline workers as Jaffrey said, frontline workers at the center of the polio eradication efforts. Continuous community protected vaccination, ideally female, at doorstep of 2.7 million children living in the reservoirs areas remains litmus test of our success. The 3 reservoirs areas still persisting are Peshawar, Khyber, the Quetta block, and the super high-risk areas of Karachi. Chairman, Army action in FATA, there were more than 500,000 children which were inaccessible in 2014. This number has come down to 16,000 children in 2015. This is a big change. Due to the improved security, in 2015, we have seen no killing of vaccinators except couple of random cases. But let me tell you one thing that I've been asked this question, that the recent bombing in Quetta and the army attack, the attack to a university in Peshawar, just 2 days back. These two incidents have taken place in 1 week. Loss of precious, innocent human life. This will not deter us. We are committed to move ahead and make Pakistan polio-free. As a matter of fact, we will, and our Rotarians will redouble our efforts.
Aziz, I know I speak for everyone when we think of the sadness of the deaths of those 15 security workers last week, and admiration for their dedication. But then to also see that the government, the health workers in that area, the security forces, went to work 2 hours later, still eradicating polio.
Yes.
That shows the determination Pakistanis have. Our sympathies on your losses. Yeah. Ishaq, we've heard great news from Pakistan. There's also progress in Afghanistan. So what's occurring in Afghanistan with polio eradication? It seems to be progressing, but a little bit more.
Thank you, Mike. It's challenging, but there has been a slight decrease in 2000 of polio cases in 2015 compared to 2014. In 2014, we had 28 cases, but this year we have 19 cases. So that shows a decrease of almost 30%. Almost half of the children who are vaccinated, who were confirmed polio, half of them were female and half of them were male. And some of these, they did not have received the OPV, or the oral polio vaccine. So that's also another challenge. All of the cases had a history of these, like fever, and followed by the paralysis. Most of the country is now polio-free, and Afghanistan has not interrupted. That's the reality, that's the fact. Afghanistan has not interrupted the transmission of the polio virus, and has reached a very critical stage in eradicating this polio virus from the country. Missed children in security compromised areas and inaccessible areas is a major concern for the PEI, or the Polio Eradication Initiative program. There has also been a decrease in the number of districts compared to 2014. There are 13 districts that reported polio viruses in 2015, while in 2014 we had 19 districts. The traditional polio endemic reservoirs of Kandahar and Helmand, they remained like polio-free for 11 months, but they have returned a positive environmental sample and remain in the area of strong programmatic focus, because that's an area that we should very much focus in. Kandahar and Helmand, they are in the south of the country. A strong coordination platform has been created for all polio eradication partners and stakeholders, with the establishment of EOCs, Emergency Operations Centers, at the national level and also sub-national level. The EOCs are focusing and placing importance in the quality of polio eradication frontline workers and their training, performance, and communication support. The priority of activity and the focus of the EOCs, or the Emergency Operations Centers, is also low performance districts, or the LPDs. In accessible areas, quality of the program in accessible areas, which means secure areas, with a revisit strategy targeting missed children. When then children are missed, so they are retargeted, or there is a strategy to revisit those missed children. Immunization along the borders is, and also security compromised areas is done by the polio transit teams, which is very important, and they play a very significant role in vaccinating the children crossing both Pakistan, Afghanistan, or coming out and going into security compromised areas. This is the low transmission season, which is from now on to up till June. That's an opportunity, a window for the program to stop for the PI program to be prepared to work and ensure poliovirus is stopped in the country and the transmission is stopped. The government has also a strong commitment that they will help and they would stop the polio virus till June 2016. Thank you.
It's wonderful to hear these updates. I heard Hamid say a week or two ago at another meeting I was at that the polio virus is becoming more localized every single week in your two endemic countries. And I think the emergency operating centers, these other things you're doing, are all helping to do that with active involvement of Rotarians, and that's just wonderful. Tunji, another question for you. Yeah, we have quite a few district governor-elects here, their spouses. What can they do to help ensure that Africa gets to the point that it is certified polio-free?
Well, I hope our district governors-elect are not shifting in their chairs, wondering what more do you want us to do after all we have been loaded with in the last few days. And what Dr. Hamid Jafari just mentioned are some of the challenges. I think the district governors and their spouses will need to take over the laudable efforts of their predecessors, keeping Rotarians engaged and focused in getting the job done. And they can do it in following ways: supporting advocacy programs that engage their governments, both at local and national level, to continue support for the polio eradication initiative. Also, continue to create public awareness on the need for parents and caregivers to ensure that all children below the age of 5 years are presented regularly for routine immunization. And when we do our regular house-to-house immunization exercises, they make sure that these vaccinators have access to their children. And of course, very importantly, you've heard Dr. Hamid mention the fact that we still have a funding gap of about $1.5 billion that I mentioned earlier. We still need to continue raising funds to support the Rotary Foundation's effort in ensuring that we not only support the polio efforts in polio endemic countries, but the whole global polio eradication initiative. It's not going to be easy. At times, it's going to be frustrating. But then when you look away from the big picture of statistics, and you look at the small picture of that child who is paralyzed by polio, whose life will be changed for the worse for the rest of your lives, whose family's social life will be thrown totally into difficult situations, then you would know that your frustration is worth what you are frustrated for, because at the end of the day, it is that child that you are focused on. District governors across the Rotary world, both in endemic countries, as you have seen in Hamid's presentation, and the polio-free world, continue to be engaged in incredible public awareness and advocacy and fundraising activities. Rotarians have climbed mountains, Everest, we know, Kilimanjaro, we know, walked across formidable terrains, and rode bikes across countries to raise awareness and funds for our foundation to eradicate polio. the November ride to end polio in the El Toro de Tucson, where our General Secretary, I think you deserve an applause if a lot of you are in the hall. Yeah. It's a worthy example of what Rotarians can continue to do to ensure that we keep our promise to the children of the world, a world without polio.
Thank you, Tunji. Thank you. Ishak, there are not a whole lot of Rotarians in Afghanistan. What can the rest of the Rotary world do to help you?
Thank you, Mike. Rotary has provided financial support for polio eradication in Afghanistan through its PI partners, UNICEF and WHO, for operation, communication, and in the meantime, human resources needed for the program. Polio Plus, the National Polio Plus Committee of Afghanistan of the Rotary International is also worked for social mobilization, community works, communication through different programs like sport, events, community gatherings, meetings with religious leaders and community influential figures for polio awareness. In the meantime, Polio Plus represent Rotary International in all forums targeted to eradicate polio in Afghanistan. The Rotarians, especially in the east of the country, have also participated in polio campaigns, in intra-monitoring polio campaigns, and has positive impact on the program development, because that is something that Rotarian provides to support the program and in the quality implementation of the program of the partners. Advocacy with the government is another associations, is another part which has a positive impact on the polio eradication program implementation. Other Rotarians, like Rotarians from Pakistan, they can provide a lot of assistance, especially in cross-border meetings, and especially we have many crossing points.
Yep.
There are many crossing points that we need polio transit teams, that we should vaccinate the children going back and forth to Pakistan to prevent the transmission of the virus. So the Rotarians, other Rotarians, and especially the Rotarians in Pakistan, can provide significant assistance to all these cross-border activities, to at least to support the program and success in both the countries. One point which is very important, for virus, there is no Afghanistan, Pakistan. There is no Pakistan, Europe, Nigeria, Africa, Asia. Pakistan, but virus does not recognize borders. So this is the responsibility of Pakistan Rotarians and Afghanistan Rotarians to put all their resources, strengths, to eradicate polio.
Ishak, I think that makes polio may only be endemic in 2 countries, but it's still all of us that need to eradicate it.
Yes.
There's no borders as far as we're concerned. We're all going to work to get it done. That's great. You think about it, there's been over 2 million Rotarians and spouses have focused now for over 31 years on the eradication of polio and have raised well over $1.5 billion. And we're looking to you, Tunji, we're looking to you, Ishak, and we're looking to the Rotarians in your country to lead us in helping to make history. But I got a question for Aziz. We're looking to you, too. Is it stressful to deal with all this responsibility?
No, sir. As I said, Chairman, program in Pakistan is very much on track. Independent Monitoring Board mentioned in its most recent report, and I quote, encouraged by the recent program. In 1 year, 3 million children were vaccinated at 23 permanent transit posts established by Rotary to target the families on the move. 5 more such posts are being set up. Our resource centers are doing wonders. Polio booths have been established at cross-border points at transit terminals, bus terminals, railway stations, and airports. Security situation in many hard-to-reach areas has improved tremendously, especially in FATA and KPK and other parts of Pakistan. EOCs are totally energized. We are thankful to Rotarians globally for supporting the polio program in Pakistan, and we appreciate the support of all our partners. Health camps in Pakistan are being implemented by government with the support of Rotary in super high-risk areas. Besides oral polio vaccine, introduction of inactivated poliovirus vaccine in health camps and during routine immunization has increased the immunity in the babies. Besides these health camps, Rotarians are also holding health camps. Pakistan government is fully aware of the low season for polio transmission and how critical this time is to interrupt the polio virus from circulating to polio-free areas. Awareness on polio has increased considerably through advocacy efforts in schools, in local communities, by the Rotary clubs. My two district governors are here, Arif and Salim. I'm thankful to them, and I'm sure that they will provide full leadership during that term as governors. Rotary engages ulmas and religious scholars in workshops to bring down refusals across the country. All ingredients, Mike, are in place for remaining 5 campaigns between now and May 2016. We must take advantage of the low transmission season. We need to maintain focus on quality and zero missed children. 3 times in the past, we were very close to eradication, but we did not finish the job. This time, it is different. Politicians, administrators, Rotarians, and partners are fully engaged at all levels. We do not underestimate the challenges, but we will not be diverted from our goal of zero. The virus is now fighting a last round. 2016 is the year when it meets its end in Pakistan.
Thank you, Aziz. Thank you, Aziz. Thank you, Ishaq. And thank you, Tunji, for updating us and for all that you and the Rotarians in your countries are doing on the front lines to eradicate polio. District governors-elect, we do have progress, but we are not yet at the finish line. Your leadership is needed on the Gates Challenge to engage Rotarians in your district, to advocate to government's continued funding, and to create public awareness of our efforts. Thank you for all you will do to end polio now. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.